What happened was we started looking for a home in Ithaca in 2001. In Connecticut, we were living in a homeowners association community where everything external was taken care of. We came to Ithaca and wanted to find the same thing, same type of thing. And we're told by the realtor that it didn't exist. Fast forward, and yes, it is 3 years, and it's now 2004, and the realtor called and said, what you've been looking for is about to be built. And that's how we originally connected with Steve. When we came, we would come up here regularly for family and Cornell functions, and asked around and found out his reputation was stellar. So we went ahead and we were the first contract signed on this community. This was the first building built. Our next door neighbors moved in about 3 weeks before we did, and that was all there was this building. And one by one, we watched the development grow to what it is today. So for pretty much for 5 years, every morning when we stepped out the door to either go to work or take a walk or whatever, Steve was out there at 6 o'clock in the morning and getting the crew going and getting started. And it was a pleasure to know that he was that hands-on. He himself was always here as every house was built. I have a couple of friends who, in Connecticut and in Westchester and areas like that, are involved with building communities just like this type of community, usually bigger, to whom I went originally with the floor plans and then throughout the construction. And we're just really impressed with the kind of work that was being put into a planned community. It was exactly the kind of work you would put into a house that you were just building for yourself on your own. So they were really pleased with that. Steve is actively involved every step of the way on building the house. Because he is primarily a custom builder, there was a lot of interaction. It wasn't just he was putting up a pre-planned house and he went away. So there was a lot of going back and forth and talk. He was very actively involved with both of his sons. It was particularly true in our case because we were still living in Connecticut. So we did a lot of this long distance. So Steve's participation was essential for us. We weren't able to make decisions and run to a store and look at things. So we had to have a lot of involvement from him. He allowed us a great deal of freedom on what we chose, which is why these are not all cookie cutter. They don't all look exactly the same. We picked our own cabinets. We opened that wall up. The original plans called for the fireplace in the corner. We opted to put it on this wall so it can go through to the bedroom, which is nice on a cold morning. And so there was a great deal of freedom that he gave us because of the fact of his attitude about being a custom builder. It wasn't cookie cutter. We're here 5 years, and I can still call Steve or one of his sons if there's a question or an issue. I know one of my neighbors did it recently. They are still always available to us. He values that reputation in the community. He'd always tell stories about people whose houses he built 15 years ago who are still calling him about a question or an addition or a change. So, yeah, he's always there. You couldn't be in better hands. He is completely trustworthy. He keeps his word and does quality work. You just couldn't be in better hands if you want your home built than if Steve builds it. I would go to him if I were building another home.